Hi there folks, it's Stephen Paul here. How are we doing? Now I spoke to you yesterday and I was talking about luck, and I said I was going to kind of put up the part that I read in Donald Trump's book. I didn't get a chance to do it yesterday, but I've got it here with me today. So what I'm going to do, basically I'm going to read actually what, kind of Donald said sort of thing in his book, and kind of basically just read it from his book. So anyway, it goes a little bit like this. One day I was in my office working and my secretary told me, "Oh, tonight Mr. Trump, you have a bankers convention. The black tie dinner, which I usually attend, was being held at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel for 2,000 people in the banking industry. When you're in bad times, you do not have the same energy or spirit you have when things are booming. Instead of going out with a bunch of bankers, I wanted to go home and watch a football game on television. I was tired. I'd had a terrible day where the banks coming at me from 15 different angles. There was one bank in particular that was worse than any others. The guy in charge of collecting the loans was mean and nasty. He was putting everybody out of business. He forced 37 real estate people in New York City into bankruptcy by calling in their loans. I owed him around $149 million, which was one of my smaller loans, and I was next on his list. Usually you can work things out with banks. This guy wanted 100% of his money right now. The guy was an animal. He wanted to destroy me. I did not want to be with bankers because when you owe them money, they hate you. Who wants to go to a dinner where every guy in the room wants to clobber you? All the bankers to whom I owed money would be there. It was a cold and rainy night, and I could not take my limo because it would be very uncool to show up at a bankers meeting riding in an expensive limo when I owed billions. I was already very tired. When my secretary told me that I had to go to the Waldorf Astoria, I said I'm not going. I went home, but when I got home, I got a second wind and said, you know what, I think I'll go. At the last moment, I put on my tuxedo and went. There was no available cabs, so I had to walk to the hotel 10 blocks from Trump Tower in the freezing rain. By the time I got there, I was soaked. I felt then as if I had reached my lowest point, but I went because it was my job. When I got there, I sat down at the table. There was a banker on my left, a nice guy named Stephen. I said, "Hello, Stephen, how are you?" Obviously I didn't owe him any money because he was very nice to me. It is easier when you do not owe money. Very nicely he said, "Hello, Donald." Then I turned to the guy on my right and said to him, "Hello." He just grunted and gave me a dirty look. Then Stephen said, "I don't think that guy likes you very much. Who is he?" I don't know the man. He did not even give me his name. He was just an angry person. I continued talking to Stephen for a little while. After a few minutes, I tried to talk to the guy on my right again, but it was no use. It was like talking to a stone wall. He made it very clear that he had no use for me. It got really intense. I was miserable because I hate being in the position where I owed money to just about every banker in New York. That guy was a banker and he hated me. I figured that I must owe him a lot of money for him to act that way. I spent a miserable 15 minutes trying to communicate. Steve on my left commented, "Man, that guy is real nasty." But I kept trying to get something going with the nasty guy. After another 15 minutes of misery, the guy finally started to open up and talk to me a little bit. Then we started to get along a little. Finally I asked, "What bank are you with?" He told me and I couldn't believe it. I said, "Holy crap, what's your name?" He told me his name and now I really couldn't believe it. Out of all the people to sit next to me in the crowd of 2,000 bankers, I ended up sitting next to the brutal killer who had pulverized so many people and destroyed their lives. He was the killer who was after me. What luck! I was not sure whether it was good luck or bad luck, but to be sitting next to that guy was amazing. I said, "You're the one that's killing everybody, and you want to kill me too?" He said, "Yes, we do." But we kept on talking, and after an hour I was actually getting along with him. He really loves women and wanted to talk about women, so I talked to him about women. Frankly, when you owe someone as much money as I owed him, you talk about whatever they want to talk about. In talking to him, I found out that he was in a lot of trouble himself. He had thrown 37 companies into bankruptcy. Those 37 real estate guys owed him a lot of money and had no way to pay up. Being the mean, vicious guy that he was, he wanted blood. Sure, putting 37 companies into bankruptcy made him feel better, but it was not going to bring him in any money. In fact, he was losing money. His legal fees were eating him alive, and all his assets were being wiped out. By the way, this is the one good thing about lawyers. Eventually they get so greedy that their clients just want to get out of the case, which is a good time to settle. It turns out that the banker's lawyers had been giving him a dose of his own medicine, and the bank was getting hurt financially. His bosses at the bank were angry with him because he was spending too much money on lawyers instead of working out deals that would bring in money. I was very fortunate to be dealing with him right then. If I'd met him a year before, we would not have had a discussion. The year before, he was in no mood to talk. He just wanted to crush everybody in sight. We started getting along, and by the end of the evening, we were actually enjoying ourselves. Then he said, "You know, Donald, you're not a bad guy." I said, "I sold you." He said, "How about this? How about you come to my office to work things out? When things are booming, I was king, and people would come to see me in my office. However, when you owe someone money, you go to their office." I could not say no. You come up to my office. So this barbarian banker said, "How about you come to my office on Monday morning at 9? Let's see if we can work something out." I said, "I'd love that." Monday morning, I went to his office, and in 5 minutes, we'd worked out a great deal. So, basically from there, he then goes on to talk about Gary Player, who was a golfer, and he sort of describes how he wasn't the best golfer in the world, but at the time, in fact, no, he wasn't. No, that's not true. He wasn't the biggest golfer in the world at the time. He was, kind of a fairly small sort of bloke, but he was kind of winning majors because basically he kind of put the effort in and continued to work at his game when other golfers at the time were not looking into fitness or practicing as much as they could. So basically that was really the story that I wanted to tell you, with regards to people thinking about luck and how you kind of perceive luck, if you think you're lucky or if you think you're unlucky. Anyway, I hope you like your story. If you've got any comments, please leave them. I'd love to hear them. But for now, that's all, and hopefully I'll speak to you soon. So bye for now.